What's going on, everyone? It's Talks with Kenny. Here we are. Appreciate Koyi your comments greatly appreciated. I am having a wonderful day. I had a fun time with my family. I hope you're doing well. I hope everyone's doing well. I know it was an eventful week. Oh, I'm gonna wait a bit before I get started. I'm still trying to set up here. I got my body armor. So I'll be chilling on the stream for a bit. Let me look through. If you guys want, I left the link to the website I'm using. I think I have it up now. And excuse me. You guys can take it along with me and let me know what archetype you guys get. It's supposed to be a 10-minute test, but I'm not sure. I mean, I've done this test before. And the test that I remember doing this on was, like I think 2 years ago. So if you're watching this on the replay, comment below what archetype did you get, right? And then maybe later on, you tell me how accurate or inaccurate it was, because I believe this test is pretty accurate, right? It's not. This is not zodiac. It's zodiac signs, okay? This stuff actually makes sense because they test you based on your behaviors, right? Which is things that you choose. They don't go off of some arbitrary vague thing like, oh, what year you were born, right? Because you have no control over that. That tells me nothing about you, right? It don't tell me what you like, who you are as an individual. It just tells you, just tell me something arbitrary and vague, right? So I'm gonna read a little bit about the test. Hopefully to set up, and this is mainly so I can give time for chat to come in. If not, I'll just do this solo, roll through this. It's so incredible to finally be understood. This test only takes 10 minutes. They claim to be freakishly accurate description of who you are and why you do the things you do, right? And they test, I believe, like 5 traits. Understand others, the personality traits. In our free type description, you'll learn what really drives and inspires and worry different personality types and helping you build more meaningful relationships. I've done this test before with family. We find this fun. This is like a fun little game that me and my family likes to participate in. And we try to see how relatable it is. And it's scary how accurate this stuff is. So, yeah. This thing, it goes into the very myriad of topics. They got analysts, diplomat, explorers. But I'm not going to do that. So, looks like it might be a solo stream. At least, I mean, I've only been on for like 2 minutes. So, I don't think what's going on. So, comment section below, replay guys on this stream, if you're watching this on the replay. Wish me a happy birthday. It'll help with the engagement, and you guys get to know me a little bit better, because this thing's very accurate. I'm not going to tell you what I had last time. I'm going to see if you guys can guess it in the comment section before, but I don't know. By the time this come out, you're probably just going to cheat and just look at the end of the stream and find out what I am. But hey, I digress. I don't think my test is going to change, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. So I'll give it 2 more minutes. I'll probably clip this. You guys know I always try to live stream. I timestamp the live stream so you guys don't waste time listening to dead air. All right. Okay, F it. I'm going to get into it. So we're going to do the take the test. So this is the 16 personality test. You guys haven't seen it. It's, we're starting off with some bangers. You regularly make new friends. Recently, I've been very extroverted. Usually it's not my norm to make new friends. I tend to be very private about myself, and I tend to be very reserved about things. So it's really hard for me to open up to new people. But ever since I started doing the YouTube thing, I find myself becoming more extroverted. So now I'm gonna say, like, I strongly agree, because end of the day, online, that's all I do. All I do is make new friends. You guys here, Koyi, Base Zoomer, Terry Lewis. I hope I said your name right, bro. I'm always butchering names. E.T. David, I haven't seen from a long time. Denise, I haven't seen in a long time. But you guys, I feel like I somewhat know you guys, but like I just can't put a face to the name. But I it's like, you know, persons based on their ideologies or whatever. So I say I might get a different result, because I used to be a lot more introverted before I started doing the internet thing. So I think it made me a little bit more extroverted because at the end of the day, I'm expressing my ideas out in the open to be judged by other people. So I think this changed me in ways that I may not fully understand. So this is why another reason I wanted to take this personality test as well. My wife did this personality test, and if I can get through this in a timely manner, I'll probably tell you guys my wife's personality type and then give a little description so you get to better know her on my birthday. But I digress. You spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. Hey, you already got this should be a no-brainer. I mean, if you look at my content, like that's all I do now. I find various topics, I talk about it, whether it be journalism, socialism, capitalism, right? It explained itself. So let's get to the next one. Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too. Oh, disagree. I strongly disagree. And I'm not, my temperament it doesn't lean towards emotional like reasoning. Like it's hard for people to emotionally like manipulate me into doing something I don't want to do. Usually I say, hey, I don't want to do something. I give a logical, concise reason why I don't want to do it. And if the person doesn't listen, I just ignore them. I just go like, I tend to be like that. Like my wife can't stand that. She goes,
how dare you?
But she understands me. Like she understands me. She tries to make a accurate reason for why I should do something or what. Like we negotiate is what I would say. It's not like, oh, you have to do it because you love me. Like no one can emotionally blackmail me like this. But hey, I digress. So yeah, that I'm not really the emotional type. You often make a backup plan for a backup plan. So I don't know about this one. This one I might be in the middle about because some cases I like to think like 3 moves ahead. I like to play chess. So that's one thing that you're taught to play chess. I don't know if I do it very often, but I always think about, okay, what's the worst case scenario that can happen? And I tend to follow that. Approach. So I'll say I'm a little bit in there. You should usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. Well, it depends. I think the reason I can stay calm is usually because I plan out in advance. So I'll say that I'll slightly agree. At a social event, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. That is me to a T. Like I don't do around how you say it, mingling with other people like that. Like I don't know. I find it more comfortable to talk to people that I already have a relationship with. Now, in some cases, I would try to reach out, but I have to be in that networking mode to really try that. So I digress. You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another one. Yes, I'm very sequential like that. Like I can get wrapped up into one thing, and my wife is a good like multitasker. And not a hot take, but most people are not good at multitasking. Like that's a fallacy. Like whoever, it
doesn't make sense.
I object that.
Objection.
Like that's a fallacy. No one can do. It's just you're good at switching your attention from one thing to the other. That's all you're doing when you're multitasking, right? But I think that's inefficient. So I tend to want to finish one thing first, and then my wife will be like, "Hey, you gotta do this. And I say, "Hey, you're piling on too much stuff. Let me finish this, and then I'll get to the other things." Right? I'm not the type of person like you can just rush to do something else. Right? I tend not to do well in environments like that. So I like structure. I like predictability. Right? So yeah, I strongly agree with this. Like I do. You're very sentimental. The reasons I already stated earlier. I'm not. You like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. Now, here's the thing with schedules and lists. I like to have outlines, but I don't like to have everything in like very how you say it, rigid. I don't know. I'm weird, right? Because I like schedules. I like to do. I've been telling my wife, hey, I need a schedule. But essentially, what I do here is a schedule. Hey, I have to put out at least one video every day, every weekday. Right. And that's like a schedule. All right. And the list, I tend to like I keep a lot of this stuff in my mind. Right. So I'll say I'm neutral here. I'll say I'm neutral. The first cop out, I took a neutral. Even a small mistake can make you doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. No. Oh, I doubt sometimes. But for the most part, I go, oh, I didn't know that. And I have this, like, I know I can, like, it makes me better. So I tend not to get rattled too much when I make mistakes. I mean, I used to when I was younger, but nowadays it don't faze me. And I think it also contributes to the fact that I've been doing the internet thing. So I'm exposed to more criticism and more opinions, but I also learn, I got thicker skin. So I'll say I disagree with this. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation? It depends. Like, I don't know. I'm a very reserved person out in public, so I'll say this is strongly disagree. You're not too interested in discussing various interpretations and analysis of creative works. I don't, if they're talking about art, not really. But if you're talking about like scientific theories or political ideas and political theories, that I find interesting. And in its own way, it's creative too. Like, two people can look at the same data and come up with two different interpretations of that data, right? I just did a video today about the wokey guy, and we had the eviction rates for black women. Oh, black women are the most evicted people in America. It's both a racial and gender disparity. And I was like, well, it's not because they're a black woman and they're black and a woman. It's because women tend to be less financially responsible than men on average, right? Women make less money than men, right? So you don't save any money and you don't make as much money than the average man, right? Third, women tend to spend more money than men, right? Because 85% of consumer decisions are ruled by women, right? And I got all that from personal, because I like to focus on behavior, your actions, people's decisions. And I just say, hey, women and black women tend to make these decisions that set them up for these bad outcomes. That's how I would phrase that data. But a lot of people, they'll say, oh, black woman, it must be because society is systematically sexist and systematically racist. Bruh. And that's what you get with people nowadays. I don't know if I need to like change the scene so you guys stay engaged. But let me forget it. I'll just keep the screen on so you guys always see the prompt. So I'll say I agree. You are more inclined to follow your heart. You are more inclined to follow your head than your heart. Yes, this is a no-brainer to me, because I could feel sympathetic towards someone making a bad decision, right? Let's say my younger brother, if he does something bad or he does a mistake, I'll have the need to go save him from his own mistakes. But I tend to, the discipline part of me is like how he's gonna learn if you're enabling him to keep making mistakes because he never suffers the full blunt of his decisions. So I go and I go, okay, I'm right. I think it through properly, and I realize, yes, I have to let him go, even if I feel like I should help him or should set him up. And a day, people tell you with their actions if they appreciate your help or not, right? And this is why I like to observe reality. That's why I like to judge things empirically. If I help my brother and I just see that he hasn't learned from his mistakes, then I understand, okay, he needs to go through some struggle for him to appreciate the help that I'm giving him. So this is the kind of thought process I go through, right? You guys really gonna get to know me at a deeper level. You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of planning a particular daily routine. I'm leaning towards neutral on this because I am that kind of person, bro. I get like, since doing this YouTube stuff, I noticed I became more creative, because when I do for my day-to-day job, it's more, I mean, it's still creative in a way, but it's more structured. It's within a confines of a certain framework, right? It's very systematic, data-driven. So I tend to get into routine. Okay, this is how you do this. Oh, this is best practices. Oh, this is the pattern. This is the pattern. And then this is how I should resolve the issue. If you guys watching the stream right now, don't forget to like the stream. It really help more people to see it and more people to get notified of it. I really appreciate you guys do it. Come on, it's my birthday. I'm pulling a birthday card. Yes, I am. I'm pulling the birthday card. Like the stream, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you're on replay, like the stream. Let me know what you guys think of some of the prompts. What questions stuck out to you so far? If you made it this far into the video, leave a comment down below in the stream. I really would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's get back into the prompt. So I think I'm gonna be neutral here. I'm gonna be neutral here because I can't decide because it's random. It's random for me when I do that, right? You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people you meet. I'll be lying if I didn't say I don't. It's a hit or miss with me. So if it's someone I like, let's say if it was like a business opportunity, job, employment opportunity, I would worry about I'll worry a lot about making a good first impression. So I'll go out and dress the best that I can, or anything is subjective, but I would like to present myself the best that I can. Right? In other cases, I tend not to care, like how I come off, how people interpret what I say, because when I go on the internet, like if I was a type of person that cared about like making a good impression, I wouldn't take some of these positions that I take openly on the internet. All right. So I think, would it be a cop out if I go in the middle? I think I've been going in the middle too much. So I'll say I slightly disagree with this, that I don't really worry about making an impression. You enjoyed participating in group activities. It depends on the group activities. I don't enjoy all group activities. Like if we're just sitting around gossiping about stuff, I tend not to enjoy those situations. But if we're having like a discussion about things, maybe it's about, I want to say like, it don't have to be political, but if it's something interesting like sports talk, I could debate sports all day because it has data, it has statistics. That part of that data driven part of my brain just starts firing because that's what I like, right? And that's kind of what I do for a living. So I'll say within context, yes, I usually do enjoy group activities such as board games. In the comment section below, if you're in the chat, drop some favorite board games you like to play. I like my favorite board game to play with my family, Catan. Right? Replay. If you're on the replay watching the stream, let me know what your favorite board game is. Leave a comment down below. I like the ones that I tend to like. I'm being biased here. I don't know what I'm saying. It's my birthday. I can do whatever I want. So yeah, for the most part, yeah. You like books and movies that makes you come up with your own interpretation of the ending. I do like those things. Actually, I do like those things. But sometimes I like closing the loop. I don't like having this like, damn, I have to think through the ending. But I do find those books more engaging. So I slightly agree. Your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishments. Ooh, am I selfish or am I selfless? That is the question. In context, it does. To me, I tend to lean towards win-win, a reciprocal situation. So if I come in and I provide benefit for you and you provide a benefit for me, I prefer those situations better. But if I had to pick saying, hey, only one person can benefit from the interactions within context, like for instance, if it's my son, of course, I love helping him accomplish things, right? But if it's in the context of a relationship outside my family or friends, I'd rather it be me. So your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own. So I'll say slightly disagree. All right, these some tough questions, man. Bro. I'm like, damn. I thought I was gonna bliss through this. You are interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. I don't really have that problem. I tend to be very, very rigid in what I like. Like a lot of the things that I like, they tend to fall under either strategy, action, physical activities such as sports, right? But even within the confines of the sports, I usually only play things that I know how to play already, or I have an idea of the rules already, right? It's rare that I try new things if it doesn't meet into that, into those three realms, right? If it doesn't engage me mentally, physically, I tend not to play those games, right? Like I don't play, like, for instance, my wife, I have a PlayStation 4. I still don't have the PlayStation 5. And all I have is JRPGs. Yes, I'm a nerd through and through, guys. But I haven't played video games in such a long time. I tend to play video games only when I go on vacation, right? So I love playing strategy games. That is my ish right there. Like chess, come at me. I mean, I'm rusty. I haven't played chess in a long time, but those are one of my favorite games. So I think within context, if it's within the realms of things that I like, I will do so. You're interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. I disagree slightly. You're prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. I'm a weird person. So being conservatives tend to be very pessimistic about things. But that's what also makes us very realistic about things. Because we're prone to worrying about things not turning out the right way, and we prepare for the worst, right? You prepare for the worst. Wait, you hope for the best but prepare for the worst. That's like that's the conservative ethos right there. And you prepare for the worst. No, you prepare for the best. You hope for the best but prepare for the worst. So I tend to worry about things turning out for the worst, but at the same time, simultaneously, I prepare in my mind to address those things, right? Like I plan for those things. Okay, when this happened, I have this in the bank, right? This is why I like to save so much. Like, this is why you need someone who's a saver, because a saver is like, oh, I got $3,000 saved in the bank account. If something happened, I got 1 month to figure it out. Like, I tend to be that kind of person. Like, I'm finding out all the weak points in our situation, and then I try to have a contingency plan for each one. So yeah, I'll say I slightly agree with that, because I don't worry. It's more like I'm trying to be proactive to prevent those things. Hey guys, if you find this entertaining, I hope you are. And I hope you guys are taking the test along with me in the chat. I have the link to the test. It's supposed to only take 10 minutes. And if you finish the test before me, let me know what you got. And maybe at the end of once I'm done with mine, we can look through some of your guys' archetypes. Don't forget to like the stream, guys. Please like the stream. I really would appreciate it. Thank you. You're prone to worry about things, so I'll say I slightly agree. You avoid leadership roles in group settings. Now, this is a hit or miss with me. It depends on my competency in that thing. If I'm not if I'm not experiencing it, I tend to try to avoid it. But if I'm confident in it, I tend to want to be in the proactive role. So you avoid leadership roles in group settings. I slightly disagree. I'll say I slightly disagree. You're definitely not an artistic type of person. I agree. You think the world will be a better place if people relied more on rationality and less on their feelings? Oh my. Facts don't care about your feelings.
How dare you?
It doesn't matter how it makes you feel.
Bro, this is the fastest I answer the question. Of course. I think emotional decision making gets a lot of people in trouble. Emotional decision making is what got Biden into office. Because we just wanted to return back to normal. But does it make sense though?
Nope.
When this is how we got the world we live in now. You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. It depends. If I come from if I came from work stressed out and stuff, I'd rather relax before I do any chores. So yeah, slightly disagree. Let's go next. You enjoy watching people argue. I kind of do. Can you guys guess what I'm gonna put? Yes, it's slightly. Of course, that's what I do all day, bro. Now I do. You tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself. That's a strongly disagree, because if I said I agree, you guys will be calling me cap in the comment section. Y'all gonna be saying I'm lying, because what are you doing YouTube for? What are you doing Rumble for? If you don't want to draw attention to yourself. So I have to put strongly disagree. Thank you, Koyi. I really do appreciate the support, the best wishes. Thanks for commenting. Your mood can change very quickly. Not really. I'll say neutral, because it depends. I tend to respond. I tend to emotionally respond to certain things, but I tend not to be a moody person. Only if I'll be moody if I'm hungry. Usually there's a reason for why I'm in a bad mood. It's not always, Kenny's just in a bad mood just because. So, I don't know. You lose patience with people who are not as efficient as you. I'm a very patient person when it comes to rational people because I get to understand reaction isn't a mood change. Ha ha ha.
Bruh.
Oh, you got me there, Koyi. Yeah, but like I said, I'm reacting off of stuff. It's not like, because when I think of moody, I think of, I just don't feel it today. Like I'm like, damn, you're feeling skinny. You got to put out a video because your subscribers are waiting for a video. Esteban, I hope I said your name right. Manjima, happy birthday. I don't have bourbon, but I do got this body armor, so I'm drinking to you with you, my friend. I appreciate the birthday wishes, Esteban. I really do. Oh, sorry. So, efficiency, because I'm not an efficient person. Now, I'll say I agree, because I tend to get frustrated with, like, my son, for instance. I expect him to already be like, yes sir, no sir, sit down, he sits down, stand up, he stands up. So I tend to be more like drill sergeant with my son. So I'll say I slightly agree. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. It depends on its importance. So I'll say slightly disagree. You have always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after your death. Yeah, I strongly agree with that. I always think about that. Like, I always think about my mortality, right? And the Stoic philosophy, they always talk about how you have to almost imagine your death and so what they call it, accept your fate. Like, I got comfortable with the fact that, yeah, I'm gonna die one day, right? And that's what Christianity is all about, right? Like, you ask this, like, a lot of people ask these questions, but in our current culture, in our current hedonistic culture, I don't know, in our modern culture, you ask this kind of question, like, imagine asking this kind of question on a date.
Bruh.
The girl will look at you like,
How dare you?
because in our culture, it's like all about having fun. I don't want to learn about anything that can hurt my feelings or make me feel bad about something or make me understand my mortality. Right? So that's a deep question. So, hey, this thing, hey, them last questions, every little segment, those last questions, they be hitting. I'm 50% there, and I'm right on schedule because I have, like, I've been live for like 27 minutes, so I'm doing a decent job. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. It depends. I know everything depends though. So I don't know. I changed my mind about death when I went to a Methodist church and the pastor had cancer. He preached about how he wasn't afraid of death, but afraid for his wife and his children when he is in heaven. Yeah, that's one thing. That's a thought that I always am concerned about because I am the sole I'm the sole provider in my family. So, like, that always worries me. So I'm 27 years old. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. I never told you guys how old I am. I'm 27 years old today. Right. And thinking about this stuff, like, a lot of people say I'm mature for my age, but I think because of my situation, I'm married, have a son, have another one on the way. So I tend to worry, like, I grew up fast. I don't want to say I grew up fast, but I always was the type of person to kind of think ahead. So I always thought about, like, hey, I don't want to leave my family in a bad position. So I got life insurance. I got all the other stuff to, like, make sure at least my family has a way to prepare, like, to recover from me being lost, So that always concerns a concern I have, but I ain't planning to die anytime soon. So I do everything I can to make sure I'm here for a long time. So but hey, end of the day, I don't have control over that, and that's I accepted that. Like I accept my mortality, right? But try to ask someone in this modern culture about death. These things be asking some deep questions, man. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. It depends, like, within context. You become bored or lose interest when the topic gets highly theoretical. Oh no, that's when I get interested even more. But I don't know. For theoretical, because my stance has always been test your theory in reality, and if the reality tells you your theory is wrong, then you must accept your theory is wrong. So if it gets highly theoretical, it gets interesting, But at the same time, I'm asking for proof. I'll start asking for proof. Like the what is a woman question where, oh, a woman can be anyone who identifies as a woman. That's too theoretical. Oh, gender is a social construct. Okay, but what was the purpose of gender? Right? When you start asking questions like that, they look at you like they don't know how to answer. And those things tend to make me lose interest or get bored, because then I find out, okay, there's no substance behind what you're saying. Your theories is based on nothing observable. I can't prove or disprove your thing, right? Because I tend to hate people who make opinions based on subjective, not opinions, feelings is what I hate. So I tend to want to have some basics of it. Now, if it's highly theoretical because it can't be proven yet, or it's something that we're trying to preach out into the future, then maybe it'll be interesting. So I'll put slightly agree. You find it easy to empathize with people whose experiences are very different from yours. Now, empathy is I would admit, is not my strongest suit. Like, I'm not a very empathetic person. Like when people crying about systematic racism and all this, I go, nah, that's you, bro. That ain't that's you. Like, because I practice this thing called extreme ownership. Like you're responsible. End of the day, external factors can happen. Like you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. And how I like to think about it for myself is that when I respond, I always think, don't make the situation worse. How can I make the situation, what is the best possible thing I can do to not make the situation worse? That's how I tend to think about things. But if you're an emotional person, you'll do what makes you feel good, but in the long run, it hurts you. So I disagree. You're empathetic. You're just not someone who allows someone not to have accountability. You're right. But I guess the word empathy got taken over, right? Because empathy starts to know is like, oh, you defer to the person and you prioritize how they feel about something rather than what they actually need to do in reality. I think that's maybe I had a different definition, because when someone say, oh, you have to be empathetic. I've been told that a lot of times in my life that I'm not a very empathetic person. So I guess I believe the psyop. But yes, I do believe in accountability. And if someone said, okay, Kenny, if you had to tell someone something, would you spare their feelings or would you tell them how it's supposed to be because you believe that's the best course of action for them, right? If someone broke their leg and they would say, hey, I don't want to go to the hospital, and they're scared of hospitals. Let's say they're traumatized from hospitals. I'll be the type of person that say, hey, look, I don't care how traumatized you are. You need to get that leg fixed. But I don't want to. I'm traumatized by hospitals. Are you going to make me go through an emotional trauma just so I can fix my leg? My leg's not even that broken. I don't care if I break my leg. No, you're gonna go get that leg fixed. I don't care how you feel. So I don't know. Empathy got bastardized in our culture. So I see empathy isn't seen as relative, but putting someone before yourself is how some people see it. Yeah, like this, but when I hear empathy, it comes across to me as like, I want someone. It always seems something like emotional, right? Because when you know how you say if you love someone, you'll do something regardless if you benefit from it or not. I see that as empathetic, right? But like, if you do something and the person will hate you for it, but it saves their life, would you still do it? I'll do it. But people won't see that as empathy, because empathy is like, oh, you did something that they didn't want you to do. You didn't take their feelings into consideration when you made that choice for them, right? And that's where the empathy question gets me kind of just like, this is where I get because I'm more of that's what I'm saying. If everyone was more rational, I think the world would be a better place. And this is what I'm talking about. Because emotional people sees empathy differently from rational people. Rational people will be like, no matter how I feel, if in the end you're right about the call you made, I respect you and I should appreciate what you did for me. An emotional person will be like, I don't care if it saved my life in the end of the day. I didn't want you to do it and you did it anyway, regardless of how I felt. You didn't take how I feel into consideration. So I don't want to be your friend anymore, or I don't want to be associated with you. Right? An emotional person would do that with empathy. So it's subjective here. Since I'm a rational person and I'm taking this answer in the context of an emotional person, I'll say slightly disagree. Okay, Kui says, I think I'm empathetic, but I'm empathetic to my dad and to men and their lives. People who would consider themselves empathetic by that definition may see that differently. Yeah, man. I don't know. Like in our culture nowadays, a lot of words become subjective. Like nowadays, half the arguments you have with other people now is to hash out a common definition for words. And that's how most arguments turn into like you speaking past each other because you both like a lot of people have different meanings for the same words, and that's like the most annoying part about like talking to people randomly on the internet because you're debating and then they'll say something and you're like, well, I think me and you have a different understanding of this word, right? And that's usually the source of a lot of arguments because people have two different definitions for the same word, right? Well, imagine we're arguing about what a woman is, so that's a core root of our problem. So I digress. Let's get back into it. I'm trying to make good time so I can get Q&As. And Koyi, are you taking the test? I want to know your personality type. I'm interested in what your results will be. Internet and real life. Real life freaks me out because people are less likely to ask and talk out your differences. Yeah, I understand that. But and I think it's mainly because the fact that we became so individualized as a culture. Like people, it's like we normalize kids moving away from their parents and not being part of a community. Like here, I'm the most social I've ever been in my life because, it's I live in a newly built community. So everyone's new here. So everyone's in that social, like trying to get to know everybody's stage right now. So we have a sense of community. Like my wife has a friend already and they go out to go get cakes together and stuff. So I think if we can find like a community of people to be around in the physical, and that's why church is a good thing too. Like you're around like-minded people, it's easier to have these kind of conversations than with strangers that you have no social ties to. So I mean that's where I'll digress at. In info or in INFP or ENFP, I don't know which one. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad for your family and that you have such a community. Yeah. It's different up here in rural. In the city, we lived in apartments for like 2 years and we never been like this social with people. But within context, we were in a new built community, so everyone's new here. So everyone's in that mode to like, oh, I want to get to know everybody. So if I take my son to the park, one thing about having kids, they're good. How you say it? Conversation starters, I guess. It's the same way people with pets, they can have a conversation with anybody because the dog's there. You're like, oh, the dog, oh, your kid, and it's like a conversation starter pretty much. So and that could be a reason too. So, but hey, I digress. You usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. Yeah, I tend to be very cautious when I make decisions because I'm always trying to consider other ways that things can go south and stuff. So and obviously I play strategy games, so I'm used to thinking ahead. And my wife always makes this joke about me. She's like, "Oh, Kenny, you live in the future," but she said you gotta worry about the past too. Hey, I'm a little late. Hey, base zoomer, how are you? Hey, I'm a little late. I'm an INTP or INTG scores. We're very close for both. Did you do the test already, base zoomer? Did you guys already finish your test? Because I see you guys got 2 results. I'm thinking y'all supposed to get 1. But I'll look at those things later. The INTG, I read that one before because that was my last score last time I did this test. But a lot of things changed since I've been doing the YouTube thing. So I think a lot of my answers might change. Oh yeah, yep. Same with me, base zoomer. I did it a long time ago. I did this like 2 years ago before I did any YouTube, whatever. I was at INTG, which was the architect archetype. But I think my role might change this time because I feel like I'm answering things slightly differently ever since I started doing YouTube. Oh, so you're probably like me where you take the test over and over and get 2 results. Oh, okay. I only do it once. No, I consistently get it. I consistently keep getting INTG. So I knew, oh, okay. Like every year I would do it. I remember I used to, because this used to be a game that me and the family, like, we'll get around and be like, oh, what are you? And then we'll get the architect and then we'll look at what careers they'll be compatible with. And it's so funny. So no, I can tell that, the site, it gives me like gradual results, if that's the kind of makes sense. Okay, I get it what you're saying. You read the archetypes already and you figured you're probably closer to one or the other. So you didn't actually take the test. Well, I'm just giving you a hard time. It's about me anyway. So I let me get into this. Usually postpone making decisions for a very long time. I'll slightly agree to this. You rarely second guess the choices that you made. Yes, because I take so long to make them. So that's a quick one. After a long, exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need. Slightly disagree, because as much as I do like social events, usually depending if it's long and exhausting, I tend to want to be by myself. So I put slightly disagree. I'm 60% there, guys. You enjoy going to art museums. Strongly disagree. I'm not that much. I'm not much of a art appreciation guy. Okay. You often have a hard time understanding what other people feelings. Yes, I do. Strongly. I made a mistake. This was supposed to be strongly agree. Oh, I can change my answer back. Okay. Oh. You have a to-do list every day. Nope, I do not. You rarely feel insecure. Yep. That's one thing. One thing about me is that, I don't know. My background is I played sports in high school, and I had like those old school drill sergeant coaches. Like, they curse at you. They tell you where you messing up. They mock you because you made a mistake. So I was used to that like highly critical environment. So it made me not feel insecure when I made a mistake, because I'm like, okay, I made a mistake. I'm going to go make it up somewhere else. Or, hey, I made a mistake. I'm going to learn from it. So it gave me some type of thick skin. So I'll say I strongly agree with this statement. Like, I rarely do feel insecure about things. You avoid making phone calls. I hate making phone calls. I really do. But if I have to, I will. So I'll be like slightly agree. Sorry. You often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from yours. This is strongly agree for me. Scananova did.net /function if where I tested. It grades the results so it doesn't say only INTP or ESTG or whatever. It gives, telling you to what you score most closely with. Okay, so it's like a spectrum matched. My closest was INTP. ITNG was second. Oh, I think I did that before. Like there's so it's like a ranked system. It's like a tier system. Here's your 80% chance you're this. Here's the second choice, and here's the third choice. Okay, I get it now. Okay. I get it now. Yeah, this one only gives you one conclusion. Like, it's like, hey, you're this. Like, and then this is the free one. It only gives you one solution. But if you get the paid subscription, I never did the paid, but I looked at it. They give you like, they give you different versions of that archetype that you got designated for. So yeah. I do try to spend a lot of time understanding people's views, and I think this is why I think, I don't want to sound cocky, but I think I make good points on videos that is because I consider what the other person is coming from, or I assume their premise in good faith. Like, I don't try to assume that they're making a bad assumption. Like, I see the good in people. So if someone say, these things happen because of racial disparities, I assume it's because they think racism is actually the core issue of the problem. And I just clarify where my position is, and I say, hey, I don't think it's racism. I think it's personal decision making that's causing these problems. It's just so happened that these people make these bad decisions, and these bad decisions give these bad outcomes. So in a long-winded way, yes, I do spend a lot of time trying to understand people's viewpoints, right? Naked Socialist, Naked Communist. I read all those books because I want to be better able to articulate why I disagree with their theories or their assumptions or their solutions. So yeah, I agree. I do that. In your social circle, you're often the one who contacts your friends and initiate activities. I used to be that person, not anymore. So I'll say I slightly disagree. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. Yep, that's me. Right? I hate getting knocked off my course. Like, if I was like, I'm gonna shoot a video today, and my wife's like, no, our son is being bratty, being tiresome, he's not listening to me. I'm like, damn, now I have to go handle this guy so I can get back to my, like, to me, I stop when I'm done. That's the type of mindset I have. So you're still bothered by mistakes that you made a very long time. Ooh, this is me to 100%. Right? Because one thing is, I'm very critical of myself. Like, if I make a mistake or I felt like I didn't clearly articulate myself on a video or something, I'll be like, damn, I feel like I could set that better. I linger on it a little bit so I could be better for the next thing. But okay. Oh my gosh, I ruminate on old mistakes and decisions constantly. Yup, I'm the same way. That's a great how you say it, pet peeve of mine. You rarely contemplate the reasons for humans' existence or the meaning of life. Oh, I always complicate that. Like, I'm always thinking, damn, like, how did it get here? Does God exist? I do believe in a creator, though. Intelligent design, evolutionary, like Darwinism. I don't like Darwinism. I'll designate myself as creationist. Like, I believe an intelligent life form created all this. Like, nothing happens by accident, right? All you have to look at is like physics. Physics has laws. If something has law and order, wouldn't you assume that there's something behind that law and order? Law and order don't happen randomly, right? It has a cause and effect relationship, right? Why don't you hurt another person unprovoked? Because that breaks the law. Okay, who decided that was wrong? Because I don't want someone else to do that to me, right? There's a reasoning behind why things work the way it does. Gravity has a predictable response, and to me, there has to be something intelligent behind all that, right? This is why I think atheism is like dumb, because their whole ideology is based on the fact that they don't want to recognize that there's a God, right? But then how do you explain things that are outside your bound of knowledge or your ability to test, like, because technically God answered, like, making the concept of God answers all those questions. Like, oh, there's something that exists outside the realm that establishes order to the universe. But I don't mean to get too preachy. So yes, I do. You rarely, I disagree with that. I do heavily. Your emotions control you more than you control them. I disagree with that statement. You take great care not to make people look bad, even when it's completely their fault. Yeah, I tend to do that. I tend to try to give people grace. Like, if someone's messing up, I tend to try to give them a way out. Like, I don't sit here try to like demonize somebody, whatever. Because at the end of the day, I know we're all human. We all make mistakes. So I tend not to try to like crush someone or publicly embarrass them. So I'll say I slightly agree. But if they keep repeating the mistake over and over and over again, or acting cocky or disingenuous, then I tend to get pissed off. Then I will do it. But that usually takes a while for me to get to that point. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized, consistent efforts. Slightly disagree. When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take for them to feel disappointed in you. This is like, I don't know. I feel like everyone struggles with that in a way, but I'll say slightly disagree. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. Not really. I think, I don't know. It's hit or miss with me on this question. So I'll say slightly. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. Strongly disagree. Like, who thinks that? I know I'm pragmatic at most part, but before you do an action, you have to have the idea first, right? And if you got a good idea, then it's safe to bet that you're going to do good actions because you thought deeply about them. So Koi says she's an INFP. So you must have finished this faster than me. So let me go through this, and so I could look at mine, and then we could look at everyone else's once I have time. You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmosphere than quiet, intimate places. Oh no, I disagree. I like quiet places. I try to also present myself as less intelligent than I am to get people comfortable diverging information, i.e. I may not already looked into a procedure, but I still let the doctor explain. Yeah, my wife is the same way, base zoomer. She likes to do that. She likes to look into it, and then she's like, okay, I want to see if the doctor is going to confirm what the same conclusion I have. And I tend to do that too. Like when I was doing taxes this year, I was like, this is probably the reason why we're probably going to pay this much, right? I already did the calculations, but I was like, I didn't feel sure or confident about myself. So I was like, okay, let me see if this expert, right, follows the same line of logic that I did. And yeah, usually that's how I did. I got INFP, then INFG, then EFNG. I'm going to go with the first one you told me. Okay. You know at first glance how someone is feeling. I don't know if I'm that like perspective on that. I it's hit or miss with me. Usually I assume, I say, oh, they're likely doing this, but this is the second option. So I'll say slightly agree or agree. You often feel overwhelmed. Not really. I tend to be good with chaotic situations because my thing is when I get the chaotic event, I try to establish order. So I disagree. No, never. No, never. I have such bad theories of mine. you completely you complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. Yeah, I tend to be systematic in that way. And my wife tends to get annoyed with that because if she breaks me out of my focus or whatever, it's like it throws my whole thing off. And I think I sometimes I get better with that, especially if I'm trying to get into like a debate. People are going to do that to me, so I can't. I have to get better at that. So I said, yeah, I tend to like to think about things methodically. Like I like to do things step by step and then lead people down a conclusion. I am too trusting. I usually take doctors at their word, but I may harass them more into fully explaining themselves where they may feel insulted. Yeah, like end of the day, you if you're trusting somebody, essentially with your life, right? You want them to resolve all your worries, because my wife is like that right now with our son right now. She's pregnant. She will be like, hey, I have this concern, and she wants to know all, like she wants the doctor to answer all her concerns, so that way she can leave being armed with knowledge to deal with the situation. Unfortunately, I have no trust for anybody in the medical field. Yeah, at this point, yes, you got to be skeptical, but no, you know what I'm saying. You are very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. Yes, that is my problem. Like the red pill stuff, like minute someone say, oh, this is controversial, I go, I wonder why. And then I'm here being nosy and trying to figure out everything about it. So, and this is why I don't agree with people being deplatformed, or like people are not allowed to speak to certain people. Like I think the YouTuber Just Pearly Thing, she's getting into heat right now because she interviewed someone called Nick Fuentes. And I believe he's like a pro-white person. I'm not going to call him a racist because I haven't seen all his content, but people call him that. And I heard some of the things he said in the Just Pretty Things interview, and I was like, oh, if I flip it and say black people, oh, I don't want black women dating black men, or I don't want black women dating white men, or black women saying I don't want black men dating non-black women, y'all call them pro-black. But because Nick Fuentes is white and he's saying this, y'all call him a racist. Like this is the hypocrisy I can't stand, right? I don't like logical inconsistencies. If it's wrong for one, it's wrong for all. If it's not wrong for one, it's not wrong for the other person, right? So that's one thing I've always been intrigued by with like controversial. I'm like, okay, why is it wrong to think this way? Why is it wrong for someone to have this opinion, right? And I don't know how I got to that tangent, but I'm gonna go to the next one. Base Zoomer, my aunt is my doctor, so that's hard to do. But in the city, I definitely felt that way. Dude, most of the actual shocking stuff about Nick Francis isn't talked about. I've seen a lot of documentation of saved clips of him harassing young men. The joke he keeps cat boys in his basement is not a joke. Okay. Interesting. I don't know much about him. That's why I just judged him based on the interview I saw with Just Pearly Things, right? And it just came across like, okay, he's very pro-white, right? So people call him probably a white supremacist, right? And I go, okay, but black people think similar to this guy. Like a pro-black and him both agree on one thing: no interracial marriage. But one is going to be called a racist and one's not going to be. And that's the inconsistency I have problems. Like either both of them are racist or both of them are not racist. They're just pro their race, right? And that's one thing that people have to like resolve for themselves, right? I just think there's a lot of mental gymnastics going around. But I digress. You may pass along a good opportunity if you thought someone else needed it more. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm very Machiavellian in that. I'm like, nope. But it's stuff Pearly Things wouldn't know. It's not her fault. The stuff he says is as if she supposed any idea anyone had come on her show. I think it might be, depends on if just me or affects my whole family. Depends on how God guides my heart in the moment. You struggle with deadlines. I tend not to struggle with deadlines. Right? I tend to try to prepare well in advance. But when them deadlines, because my job's all about deadlines. Like I gotta push code, boy. Like, hey, if it ain't get done at that set, hey, our jobs might be on the line. So yeah, I don't struggle much with deadlines. That's why I get stressed out a little bit. But success. So you feel confident that people will work out for you. You feel confident. Oh, sorry. I said people. I don't know why I got work out for. I skipped some words. You feel confident that things will work out for you. Agreed. Yes. Yes. I'm a male. I hate when they put other. Like, I was like, what else is there?
Bruh.
So I finished it under an hour. Let's see the results. How many college papers did I write the night before they were due? So can you guys guess based on my answers what I got? It didn't change. I got INTG again. So yeah, I architects are imaginative and strategic thinkers with a plan for everything. You guys think I have a plan for everything? Like I thought things would change, but it seems like nothing did. Nothing did. So let's look at my profile. I'm 54% introverted. Of course. This is why I like this one. It gives you percentages. Like, it's not saying you're only introverted. It gives you a percentage. All right. Introverted individuals tend to prefer fewer yet deep and meaningful social interactions and often feel drawn to calmer environments. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm messing up going on YouTube with all these people arguing with me in my comment sections, but I guess I could ignore them. So that's my state of mind, guys. I'm the same as, I think someone who was the INTG? I think it was Curie, right? Koyi, sorry. I think it was you. No, you said you were INFP. I think Base Zoomer says he was an INTG, but she said your closest was INTP. So your perspective. So I'm judgmental. Your perspective. Got it. So pretty much this is the same as Koyi right here. I mean, base zoomer, pretty much. Intuitive individuals are very imaginative, open-minded, and curious. They value originality and focus on hidden meanings and distant possibilities. We're some theorists out here, boy. I'm like 100% introverted. My husband say he thinks I'm Asperger's. Asperger's, I think that's how you say it. Over the years, I think I got less extroverted. I used to be strongly ENFP, but now INFP. Sometimes I get INTG. Yeah. Okay, so thinking. Oh, I'm heavily thinking. I'm 83%, boys. Thinking individuals are focused on objectivity and rationality. Yes, that's me heavily. Often dismissing emotions in favor of logic. They tend to see effectiveness as more important than social harmony. Yes, I'm willing for people to get mad at me for them to do. And this goes back to the empathy question that me and Koyi was talking about in the chat. Over the years, I think I got less extra. Oh, Zoomer. Judging. Oh, I'm very judgmental, boy. Judging individuals are decisive, thorough, and highly organized. They value clarity, predictability, and closure, preferring structure and planning to spontaneity. Yes, I hate things happening at random. Right, tactics. Right, and that's what I liked about this thing. This is why I feel like it's so accurate. Assertiveness. Now, I think this is the thing that changed about me, and this is why I like this one. Identity. They have this like segment, like you have the INTG, the original, and then they have their own little category where if you're the more assertive one or the turbulent one. So before, I used to be an INTG with a T, the turbulent. I used to be turbulent. Now I'm more assertive, and I guess it's because I'm being more outspoken about what I do or what I think on the internet now. So I change a lot of my answers associated with this YouTube stuff. Assertive individuals are self-assured, even-tempered, and resistant to stress. They refuse to worry too much and tend to be self-confident when striving to achieve goals. That's me right now. Like, I'm striving to achieve goals, and they have that, oh, one more thing, but I'm going to pick next because I don't care about my research. So this one's going to be an interesting one. So this tells you a lot, like an introductory. It tells you, so I had no idea what that was. Oh, I always got turbulent. So you're more doubtful, I guess, of yourself. And if I remember correctly, the T, I could look into it later. But this is the meat. This is probably going to be like the meat of the video. So this, y'all are really going to know a lot about me from this. This is why I wanted to do this. Because this is why I like this. I don't think out of all the other ones, I don't think they go into this depth about like your like who these avatars tend to be. I think why I'm between P and J because I'm chaotic in that regard. I like planning and structure 90% of the time, but I also may randomly say, let's go on a road trip. So that 10% is impactful. Probably. Yeah, but if you're that, like, if you like planning and structure 90% of the time, because no one's 100% of one thing. So I would say you should be, if you like planning and structure, you should be more judgment than perspective. But yeah, let's get into this. I might read through this. So here's the introductory. Thought constitutes the greatness of man. Man is a reed, the feeblest things in nature, but he is a thinking reed. It may be loaning at the top as one of the rarest. Oh, guys, I'm rare. Personality types. One of the most capable architects. INTJs know this all too well. My stability comes from my husband because I like randomly whimsical adventures. Corey, you sound like my wife. Rational and quick-witted. Architects pride themselves on their abilities to think for themselves, not to mention their uncanny knack for seeing right through phoniness and hypocrisy. Then I just started finishing talking about this whole Nick Fuentes thing with Just Perfect Things creating outrage with the Black Manosphere. That's why I say I think this thing is fairly accurate. Way more accurate than zodiac signs, at least. But because their minds are never at rest, architects may struggle to find people who can keep up with their nonstop analysis of everything around them. A pioneering spirit, and I like the little animations they have here. A pioneering spirit. Architects question everything. Many personality types trust the status quo, rely on conventional wisdom and other people's expertise to guide their lives. But the ever skeptical architect prefers to make their own discoveries. That's me. In their quest to find better ways of doing things, they aren't afraid to break the rules or risk disapproval. In fact, they rather enjoy it. Yes, I kind of. A part of me kind of enjoys disapproval. When people come out here and call me Uncle Tom Coon Seller, I look at them and say, okay, but what's your argument though? Like, I relish those opportunities because I'm looking to be proven wrong. I think. LOL, my husband's more the way Koi. It's complementary. He keeps me from being too uptight. I keep him from forgetting our family's needs, structure, and plans for the future. Bro, wait until we get to the relationship part. That's going to be the fun part. But as anyone with this personality type will tell you, a new idea isn't worth anything unless it actually works. I agree with that statement. This is why I say when these people want to change the definition of woman, I'm like, hey, your new definition better work better than the old definition. So, oh, that's awesome. My husband's mother is assertive, and a lot of his personality, like work ethic and life decisions, came from her. My heart goes out to her because it's harder to find a man in a supportive role. Oh, okay. Architects want to be successful, not just inventive. I don't know how to say that. Inventive. They bring a single-minded drive to their work and apply the full force of their insight, logic, and willpower. And adventures help and heaven helps anyone who tries to slow them down by enforcing pointless rules or offering poorly thought out criticism. Appreciate. This is my wife's main problem right here. Let me show you right here. And heaven help anyone who tries to slow them down by encouraging or enforcing pointless rules or offering poorly thought out criticisms. Like this my wife hates. Oh my god, this is so funny. Architects, independent to the core, want to shake off other people's expectation and pursue their own ideas. That's me to a T right there. I think that's the main reason I started this YouTube thing, because I was tired. I was like, yo, I'm gonna just do it. Like, I'm gonna just say what I say, see who vibe with me, see who don't, see why, and I learn from it. Like, this personality type comes with a strong independent streak. Architects don't mind acting alone, perhaps because they don't like waiting around for others to catch up with them. They also generally prefer making decisions without asking for anyone else's input. At times, this lone wolf behavior can come across as insensitive, as it fails to take into consideration other people's thoughts, desires, and plans. When I met my wife, I had to learn, because when me and my wife was just getting to know each other, this was a big pain point in our relationship, because I tend to want to do things, and I was like, I either going to do it with you or without you. So yeah, this was like, I think a lot of people will benefit from doing these kind of tests, and I think I make my kids do this too, so I can know them better as a child too. It would be a mistake, however, to view architects as uncaring, whatever the stereotype about their stoic intellect. Ooh, stoic. These personalities feel deeply. When things go wrong or when they hurt others, architects are personally affected and spend much time and energy trying to figure out why things happened the way they did. They may not always value emotion as a decision-making tool, but they are authentically human. Yes, I agree with that. A thirst for knowledge. Now, this is me to a T. All right. Architects can be both the boldest of dreamers and the bitterest of pessimists. They believe that through willpower and intelligence, they can achieve even the most challenging goals. But these personalities may be cynical about human nature more generally, assuming that most people are lazy, unimaginative, and simply doomed to mediocrity. Damn. That's facts, though. My answer is to allow my husband to do it and just support him, which is okay. It's easier for him to handle a situation if it's his mistake. Exactly. People with architect personalities derive much of their self-esteem from their knowledge and mental acuity. In school, they may have been called bookworms or nerds. That was me. I was a bookworm and a nerd, and I'm still a bookworm. Not so much a nerd. But rather than taking these labels as insults, many architects embrace them. They recognize their own ability to teach themselves about and master any topic that they're interested in, whether that's coding or chapera. I think that's a capoeira. I think it's a Spanish dance, or classical music. My husband says that he calls me a robot or ice cream. I say just because I don't show it doesn't mean I'm emotionless. Yes, I don't show my emotions. I used to wear my heart on the sleeve when I was a lot younger, but I saw how much it negatively affected my outcomes in life. Like I knew when I made things from an emotional point of view, it always led to a bad outcome for me. So I kind of as I grew up, I tend to be less emotionally expressive. So I think that I just learned from trial and error not to do that, but I digress. Architects don't just learn new things for show. They generally enjoy expanding the limits of their knowledge. And that's why I like reading books so much, man. Architects can be single-minded with little patience for formalities. Oh my God, such big words. Distractions or idle gossip. Yeah, I can't do gossip. Oh my God. I can't stand gossip. That said, they're far from dull or humorless. Many architects are known for their irreverent wit, and beneath their serious exterior, they're often quite sharp, have a sharp and delightful sarcastic sense of humor. I don't know if I'm sarcastic. Social frustrations. Architects aren't known as being warm and fuzzy. They tend to prioritize rationality and success over politeness and pleasantries. In other words, they rather be right than popular. Yes, that's me. I'd rather be right than popular, right? Especially with the race stuff. I'd rather be right than popular. This may explain why so many fictional villains are modeled on this personality type. So guys, my personality makes me a villain. Because archetypes value truth and death, many common social practices from small talk to white lies may seem pointless or downright stupid to them. As a result, they may inadvertently come across as rude or even offensive when they're only trying to be honest. At times, architects may wonder whether dealing with other people is even worth their frustration. This is where I disagree. I think so, because if end of the day, if I take it this way, if I continue letting society be the way it is and I've never expressed my voice, then it's almost as if, oh, you didn't really try to fight to change anything. It's better to try and fail than not to try at all, right? So that's the mindset I tend to take. But like any personality types, architects do crave social interactions. They just prefer to surround themselves with people who share their values and priorities. And that's where I got to this sense too. And this is why I kind of moved out from Miami, right? I wanted to be more in a more quieter, peaceful place, calm place where we can raise our son and our family. So that drove our decisions to move more into Central Florida. So yeah, that's me. Often they achieve this just by being themselves. When architects pursue their interests, their natural confidence can draw people to them, professionally, socially, and even romantically. Yeah, I think that's how I got my wife, honestly. I just been myself. Like, that's one thing I don't compromise. Like, I'm very authentically me. What you guys see on camera, my wife deal with every day. like essentially, how I started this channel was, like, I used to talk politics a lot with my wife, and she was not interested in politics whatsoever. So she was like, I don't want to talk about politics. I was like, damn, I have to get this venom out somehow. So I was just like, hey, I've always been flirting with this idea. Let me start a YouTube channel. And voila. This is how, in May 3rd, 2022, Kenny started his YouTube channel. Bruh. Because his wife didn't want to listen to him ramble about politics. This is how you guys got me, guys. So you can thank my wife for this. Rather do the right thing and then be correct or in the right. I see a lot of people be proven wrong and rather be humble about it, double down, and be belligerent. Yep, there's a lot of people like that. That must base zoomer. That must be why you're type A. I definitely feel like why even bother with other humans? Yes, that's probably why I'm like that, because it's pretty much assertive, turbulent. So turbulent is like more calm, go with the flow. It sounds like, but I have to look back into it because I don't want to misrepresent what they say in this test. Architects are full of contradictions. Sounds like base zoomer to me. And Koyi, they're imaginative yet decisive, ambitious yet private, and curious yet focused. From the outside, these contradictions may seem baffling, but they make perfect sense once you understand the inner workings of the architect mind. For these personalities, life is like a giant game of chess, relying on strategy rather than chance. Architects contemplate the strength and weaknesses of each move before they make it, and they never lose faith that with enough ingenuity and insight, they can find a way to win, no matter what challenges may arise along the way. So that was the intro. That was a good intro. That's a good overlap, right? So let's see strengths and weaknesses. Koi, so true. I always say, I don't know, or I need to double check my research rather than I'm right and you're wrong. I value the facts over my pride. Yeah, I tend to be that way too. But if it's something that I really know, I'm like, hey, like, I don't think you know as much as I do. But that also comes because I know research too. Like, the average person reads about 14 books a year, right? So if I read more than the average person, right? And there's stats out there saying that if you read 3 books in any given topic, you know more about that topic than 99% of people. And I have done that. So the cases of that, you know something that I don't, is not likely. So based on that, that's where I get my confidence from. But if someone really bringing up facts and I can contemplate it and observe it and actually understand it in my mind, then I'll rethink my assumptions about things. So I also am a Gemini, but zodiac isn't something I put stake in because it isn't descriptive and based on data rather than point of personality. Well, that's the difference, right? If you know you're right, there's not reasons to stupefy yourself. Well, for the most part, but it's not. It's still good. Like, I still allow the opportunities to have my assumptions challenged. It's just you have to come up with something very substantial. And usually if you bring up something, I usually already have the stats to actually counter what you're bringing up on a bound of probabilities, right? So it's just probabilities at this point. So let's look at our strengths and weaknesses. Rationale. Should I read the whole thing? Architects pride themselves on the power of their mind. They reframe nearly any challenge as an opportunity to hone their rational thinking skills and expand their knowledge. With this mindset, they can devise innovative solutions to even the most arduous of problems. Informed. Few personality types are as devoted as architects to developing rational, correct, and evidence-based opinions. I think that's what I have. In evidence-based opinions, right? I like evidence because men lie, women lie, facts and evidence don't. So that's what I rely on. Rather than hunches or half-baked assumptions, they base their conclusions on research and analysis. This gives them the conviction that they need to stand up for their ideas even in the face of disagreement. I guess that's where I got it from. Independent. My dad always been saying I was an independent kid. For these personality types, conformity is more or less synonymous with mediocrity, right? Because average people are average for a reason, right? Creative and self-motivated, architects strive to do things their own way. They can imagine few things more frustrating than allowing arbitrary rules or conventions to stand in the way of their success. Like, AKA, black people can't be successful in this country because they're born black. I'll always disagree with that wholeheartedly, right? Even because in my personal life, I proved that assumption wrong. That's an arbitrary rule that the left and the Democratic Party likes to push on minorities, that America's a racist country and you can't be successful unless you destroy this entire system, which is malarkey to me. But hey, determined. This personality type is known for being ambitious and goal-oriented. Architects won't rest until they achieve their own definition of success, which usually entails mastering the subject and pursuits that matters to them. Most things I debate are morality and the sake for morality. That's a very hard argument for me. But watching you, Kenny, and Vince has helped solidify points I had in discussions that I partake in. Oh, I'm glad I can help you in some type of way, Koyi. I really do appreciate that shout out. But Curious. I am curious. Architects are open to new ideas as long as those ideas are rational and evidence based. I just talked to this with Base Zoomer. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is I think this is one of the most accurate tests I ever took in my life. Skeptical by nature, architects are usually drawn to offbeat or contrarian points of view, and if the facts prove them wrong, they're generally happy to revise their opinion. Yes, I am. Original. Without architects, the world would be a far less interesting place. This personality type, rebellious streak. Oh, I had a mad rebellious. I was that kid that asked why to my mom, and my mom hated it. I loved annoying my mom. I don't know why. Is responsible for some of the world's most unconventional ideas and inventions. Even in their everyday lives, architects force the people around them to consider new and sometimes startling ways at looking at things. Have I ever done that to you guys? If you ever watched a video and you're like, damn, Kenny, you made me look at things a different way. I hope so, but hey, I don't take no hard feelings if I haven't got to that point yet. Ooh, let's get into some weaknesses because I just saw one. I peeked and I was like, oh yeah, I got that bad. Arrogant. Architects might be knowledgeable, but they're not infallible. Their self-assurance, and I'm more guilty of this than I think Base Zoomer, because Base Zoomer is more of the turbulent variation. I'm the assertive variation. So this is mainly my problem. Their self-assurance can blind them to useful inputs from other people, especially anyone they deem to be intellectually inferior. These personalities can also come across as needlessly harsh or single-minded in trying to prove others wrong. Have only minor differences. Yes, they do. Dismissive of emotions. For architects, rationality is king, but emotional context often matters more than people with this personality type care to admit. Yes, and this is what I had to learn in my life. This is why they say this is why one of the benefits of like marrying somebody is like, when you work in a marriage or a team, you have to learn how to complement each other and how to balance out that interaction, because at the end of the day, it has to be a win-win situation. So my rationality works about, okay, how can I make this a win-win situation? Okay. And it tends to make you, I guess, more well-rounded, but also is because you have more responsibility. Like I have a son now. So now he's an emotional mess. He's a kid. He's 2 years old. He's going to be an emotional ball of energy. So I have to learn how to deal with that. So yeah. Haha. It took me a long time to get past that. I was horrendously arrogant in the past. My rebellious streak was weird because it was just trying to be normal with black sheep for friends. Wanting to stay after school for tutoring and not wanting to do drugs was treated as hostility. Yeah, I had that same problem, Koyi, because in the Black American community, smoking weed is a big thing, and I never smoked weed in a day in my life, right? And it's also because I did sports, so I always saw weed as a way of hurting my performance in the court. So I tend to not smoke weed at all, and I still never would get into weed or whatever. So I used to have to be very firm with my friends. When they're like, "Oh, just try smoking," I'm like, "No, I never smoked weed." So, and I looked at it, and everyone who smoked weed, I saw them as, they look like, not, I want to say lazy, but they always looked too calm, like they look too comfortable, right? They're failing classes, but I'm like, yo, like how you can be calm in that situation. So I think it makes you too laid back, and that could be a bad thing, right? It can help you calm down and relieve stress and all, but I think if you do it too often, you become hooked on it, and it makes you perpetually docile, in a way, because I think when you get stuff done, you have to have some energy behind that. Don't say this in video, but my uncles call my dad the whitest and ninja. So I was scared you, Koyi. I'm like, yeah, but yeah, I used to get that too. I used to get that growing up too, because I grew up in the hood. So me talking like this, and my mom was an immigrant. So my mom put this idea that, hey, you have to learn English and you have to talk English correctly so you'll be able to properly communicate. She didn't want me to get held back, pretty much. So I thank my mom for that. She made me speak proper English, but that got me into getting picked on by the kids in school and all that stuff. So I had to learn how to fight back very early in my life. So this is why I'm so assertive as well, is because I had to learn how to stand up for myself, because no one was going to save me. So my rebellion, Base Zoomer says her rebellion streak was nearly falling out of high school because her aunt felt My dad expected too much and didn't praise me enough. I kept a 4.0 while getting my associate's degree. I got my associate's degree, but I think I got a 3.3. I lost motivation in school. In after community college, I lost a lot of motivation. That's true, Kenny. I was a pothead 8th grade through community college. Better after quitting. I think my dad was called it for the opposite reason. Okay, I won't say it. He was probably light skinned. That's probably what it was. Okay, so what I was at. Dismissive. Zoomers sound like you just had to do it at your own pace. Architects can be impatient with anyone who seems to value emotions more than facts. Unfortunately, ignoring emotions is its own type of bias, one that can cloud architects' judgment. Overly critical. I am overly critical. These personalities tend to have a great deal of self-control, particularly when it comes to thought and feelings. When people in their lives fail to match their level of restraint, which is the smoking weed part, architects can appear scathingly critical. But this criticism can be unfair based on the arbitrary standards rather than a full understanding of human nature. Competitive. I can't say any words right now, bro. Because I just drank this too fast and I feel like I got gas bubbles. Combative. Architects hate blindly following anything without understanding why. Yeah, that's a big problem. Yep. I already gave you a hint. I was that kid that always had to ask why, and my mom hated it. This includes restrictions and authority figures who oppose them. People with this personality type can get caught up in arguing about useless rules and regulations, but sometimes these battles are distractions from more important matters. And even that is subjective. Socially clueless. Architects were relentless. Rationale can lead to frustrations in their social lives. Their efforts to defy expectations may leave them feeling isolated or disconnected from other people. At times, they may become cynical about the value of relationships altogether and questioning the importance of love and connections. This could have happened to me if I was like single. Like, let's say I was perpetually single, or I was out here like these red pill guys smashing anything that moves. This part could have happened to me, but I'm in a marriage, so I don't think this affects me as much. Or I already learned how to deal with this weakness, per se. Base Zoomer says, it's more I just didn't care in high school. I was advanced all the way to sophomore year, and I just got burnt out, I guess. I didn't see a reason to care when I could play instead. Yeah. Romantic relationships. Oh, this is going to be an interesting one. I wonder if my wife's in the live stream. She probably still putting my son to bed. Oh, I see. I definitely wanted to get GED as a sophomore because junior year felt repetitive. Yeah, a lot of things in school felt repetitive to me as well, but I just put my head down and dealt with it. Of all forms of caution is in love is perhaps the most fatal to true happiness. Yep. Bartwith Russell. Architects approach romance the way they do most challenges, strategically. With clear-cut goals and plans for achieving them. In a purely rational world, this approach will be foolproof. Alas, love is rarely rational. And architects are at risk at overlooking or misinterpreting the unpredictability of human nature and affection. For people with this personality type, finding a compatible partner can be a particular challenge. Rarely satisfied with things as they are, architects can't help but imagine how the world could be better than it already is. And they often bring the same mindset to the realm of love. Unfortunately, if architects apply a ruthlessly critical eye to every potential partner, they may find themselves constantly dissatisfied. So, the woes of dating. Architects value depth, intelligence, and unmitigated honesty. Yeps, I do. I had to teach my wife. I demand her to be more straightforward with me. And she hates it. She feels so uncomfortable. But I was like, hey, this is what I need. Because if you don't tell me directly, I'm gonna just assume everything's okay. For them, a relationship that isn't founded on these values simply isn't worth pursuing. Right. And this also, it kept me from a lot of bad relationships as well, is because I filtered out a lot of pretenders. I'll call them that, pretenders. Right. So, hey. In its own way, it worked out for me. So it might not come as a surprise then that the unspoken rule and social niceness of the dating world can seem useless or even insulting to these personalities. Good news is that architects' honesty and refusal to play games can be a breath of fresh air when it comes to dating. The bad news, many romantic conventions exist for a reason, often because they make people feel comfortable or special or intrigued. Me, I always believed no one was special. I didn't even think I was special. It's just I did things differently. That's it. That's the only thought I had. And when architects refuse to play along, they find dating difficult. It's not, if not impossible. Koyi says, I am too honest. I am so honest. It's a curse, and I get stressed being around certain people because my honesty can be seen as stirring the pot or opening the can of beans. I think that's the difference between men and women. I think as a male architect, men are more Jordan Peterson. I stole this from Jordan Peterson. Men tend to be more conscientious. I don't know. Conscientious. Now I got a stuffy nose. Crazy. Conscientious. We tend to be more confrontational. Okay. And women tend to be less confrontational. So I think if you had to go about on probabilities, that's probably where, you're more turbulent. Like you tend to be more laid back because, hey, women in social settings tend to be more passive about things, right? Women tend to be more passive aggressive. They tend to go reputation destruction. I think that's what Jordan Peterson put it. Female bullies, they try to bully you by making you be socially ostracized from everyone else. Put a bad rumor out about you and all the like. Yeah, that's how females tend to bully each other very passively. Maybe that's why I was that classic. I have more male friends than girlfriends. Probably that's why. Architects often learn the ways of love are hard to describe in a spreadsheet. I have zero social skills. Honestly, don't even factor in. I just don't know what is appropriate, so I say nothing. I am also confrontation avoidant. Yeah, most women tend to be. Men don't care. Men, because men be like, oh, if you don't disagree with me, fight me. Like that's how it tends. So I think that plays a part. That your gender plays a part into it as well. And for me, how I got over like the awkward social trial and error, one thing, and just recognizing patterns. Like I one thing I used to sit back and observe people who are really good at it, like extroverted people, and I just laid back and see how they interact, and I just mimic what they did, and eventually I started. And here's the weird thing about me: I was always good at public speaking because when I went to my Christian school, I was required. We were required to do public speaking in front of the chapel, so we had to like preach about the virtue of the day that we have to learn, right? How to be attentive, or like, and we had to create a story or give a topic and explain it out into the chapel. So I was decent at public speaking. So with that is like, I learned, okay, I have the speaking piece. It was just, I just saw it as how I rationalized it. Even though it made me uncomfortable, I saw it like a video game. Hey, I need to increase my social skills, so I have to get more practice in, right? So I think that's how I got into improving my social skills, because I was pretty sociable. Like a lot of the struggles that I see here, I dealt with it, or I already got it out of the way as a kid growing up in high school. So by the time I got to college, I was pretty well-rounded already. See, Boomer, that's an issue. I'm just not making a confrontation. I'm just being honest, but I make a conversation because it's like the other people avoid it so much that they can't talk deep to them. I copied my social skills from my mother, who is extroverted. They got in me far enough. Anything more, and I just lay in bed for days of the social exhaustion. My wife is like that in a way. As they mature and gain experience, many architects eventually come to understand the purpose of romantic rituals. Until that point, however, they may decide that dating is too irrational or beneath them. Some people with this personality type might claim to be above the silliness of dating in an effort to demonstrate their intellectual superiority. Obviously, this mindset is unlikely to help architects find or connect with a partner. Sometimes architects' best strategy is to focus on what they enjoy rather than struggle against the rules of dating. Ironically, people with this personality type are often more attractive when they aren't caught up in trying to be, just doing what they do best, pursuing their interests that light them up and can find confidence and help their confidence and intelligence shine. Emotional sickness. This personality type isn't known for conventional shows of emotion, shows of romance. This is me to a 10th. If you had to rank me 1 to 10 about showing my emotion, I'm near 0. Such as sending flowers or writing mushy notes, most architects spend more time thinking about love than expressing it. But when they believe that a relationship has potential, architects are more than capable of giving it their all, even if it takes them out of their comfort zone. A healthy long-term relationship is much more guaranteed to take architects out of their comfort zone at some point. In particular, emotions can feel like second language to these personalities. When their partner shares strong emotions, architect default is often to shut down or analyze the situation rather than simply listening and accepting their support. That's how I am. When my wife complains to me about something, I'll be like, you want me to fix it or do you want me to listen to you? And usually she says, I just want you to listen to me. I say, okay, I'm listening. Because I tend to be like, okay, how do we fix the problem? So you don't complain about this again, right? And that's something I learned with time. So, and I grew up with all boys too. Like I was the oldest of 3 boys. So I wasn't used to all this mushy feeling stuff, right? If I had a sister, I had an older sister, but she was so much older than me that I could never develop those emotionally comforting skills. So, and when it's time for architects to share their inner workings of their heart, they feel uncomfortable and exposed. For architects, being comfortable with their partner's emotions and their own can take more than a little practice. It took a lot of practice for me. So architects aren't always ready to share their feelings, but it would be a mistake to think that they don't have feelings or those feelings don't run deep. Love is rarely easy, but it's a challenge that can help architect personalities grow. Through their relationship, they can learn to focus on the present, get in touch with their emotions, remain involved with other people, and stay open to things that they are not used to. For a personality type so intent on self-development, these opportunities can make love even more satisfying. So my husband is like that, but it's more like he can't fix it, and I'm just venting. He gets stressed out over it 2 times more than me, so I'm comforting him over my issues. It depends, I guess. Because I guess as being like a rational person, I tend to try like find like solutions to the problem. So if I was in that solution and I couldn't fix it, I'll be like, okay, how can we like mitigate this? Okay, how about you don't vent so much to me, QE? Like, I don't know. I would look at ways to try to make the process smoother for both of you, right? Try to find a win-win situation. I think that's the easiest thing I could say, pretty much. The INTP navigating conflict on a romantic relationship is me 100%. I still haven't learned. Oh man. I want to kind of wrap this up soon, but because I don't want to keep reading down the whole thing. So which one sounds more interesting for you guys for me to read out? Parenthood, friendship, career paths, workplace habits shouldn't really matter. Or should I just skip to the conclusions? Let me see what you guys say. Parenthood. Yep, I am a father, so let's skip to that. So, as a parent, children must be taught how to think, not what to think. This is a quote that's going to be on my door.
Bruh.
That's a quote that's going to be on my door, right? And this is why I have all these books too, because one of the things I have this like thought about how I want my sons to grow up, and this is why I want to homeschool them too, because I want to instill them this quote into their brains. Like this is going to be part of their psyche. So when they go out into the world and someone tells them some mess, they're going to be like, well, that don't make sense to me. Why is that like that? I want them to be like me. Architects are known for their rationality and self-control, and they may be bemused by anyone who doesn't share these strengths. For example, children. Oh my God. My son, I had such a struggle session with him earlier because I was trying to get him to comprehend when I don't want him to do certain things, and he is hard-headed. Just keep on going. So Bay Zoomer says tolerant and open-minded logician encourage their children to think independently, seek out new knowledge, and voice and defend their own opinions. Me, yes, I think they're part of the same group. Actually, I could look back into it later. Whenever people baby my daughter, I get so frustrated until I try to make her do everything she can by herself. My son at 1 year old had a toy set of brooms and mops because he'll see my wife or me mopping or brooming the floor and he'll want to participate with us. So as a form of him feeling like he's contributing to the household, we bought him that stuff. It was a Montessori toy. I don't know if you guys heard of Montessori, but he was helping us clean and stuff. At one point, my son, when he turned 2, he was helping my wife make eggs. Like they had like a Montessori little kids kit where he can actually make actual food. He was able to crack eggs, spoon it, put it into the cooking thing, and he was done. Like he was already helping us do stuff. So, and he found it enjoyable. So that's one thing I think epitomizes our parenting style with our son. So yes, I love Montessori. I'm glad my wife wants to put our son in Montessori if we don't end up doing the homeschool route. So it's pretty expensive for us, but hey, we'll find a way. For example, children for these personalities, parenting often requires mastering new skills and development cognitive flexibility. If we can afford more, my daughter would have so much more. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. One thing I'm happy about that I'm almost done paying off my car, and that will free up more money so we can start saving for that. But for now, we're like, okay, let's homeschool until the finances make sense. But yeah, it's definitely something you have to budget for. Fortunately, architects are pretty much always up for a challenge, and for architects who have children, parenthood could be equally meaningful challenge to take on. Yes, it is. An honest connection. Architects want their children to grow up to be capable and self-reliant. Yes, I do. With clear interests and strong critical thinking skills. Rather than enforcing pointless rules, parents with this personality type look for age-appropriate ways to foster their kids' independence, which is what my son is. Like, it gets to a point where it's almost to a fault because he's so independent that he doesn't like to take orders from me. And then this is where I have to correct him now. Like, hey, there's structure here. There's rules here. You can't do whatever you want. Yes, you can feed yourself, but you have to eat, son. And he wants to eat on his terms when I'm like, no, you don't eat on your terms. You have to eat. Right. And that's the fight I have because we made him too independent now. I hope someday I can have a kid and do those things. My husband just wants to find a good paying job first. Yeah. I'm telling you, Koyi, I don't know how, I don't think you're from the States. Are you, Koyi? If I'm not mistaken, I think you said you were from the UK, if I remember correctly. I don't remember. Because I don't know how things work in the UK, but in America, I know, hey, trade's got an opportunity. Hey, you can do certification, but I don't know how stuff work. Oh, you're in Missouri. Okay, that's good. So you're in the States. So try to see, I think I already gave you this advice before, but try to see if you can find, reverse engineer, try to find an entry-level job that your husband can get into and maybe try to get himself certified in something so he doesn't have to spend so much time and money in college to get to it. Farm, marriage, house, kids, take care of your father and I. Yeah. Yeah, but it's definitely tough in Missouri. I don't know. Have you ever thought about moving if you had to move somewhere else? Because I don't know how many opportunities there are in Missouri. I haven't done the research, so I wouldn't be able to really give you actual advice. I can only give you general advice because I don't know your situation. But I would say maybe try to find whatever you can at the most part. But I think Missouri would be good for trade. But I understand you have to take your husband's interest into consideration. So I understand that. We used to live in Texas. It's more about time than looking. Okay. I understand that. I wish you guys luck. I'll pray for you guys. That's not to say that architects are lenient. Far from it. They expect their kids to use their freedom responsibly. Yes, they do. Architect parents treat their kids the way they want to be treated themselves, with candor and respect. Yes, I do treat my son with a lot of respect, almost to a fault. I treat this man like he's a little adult when he's not, but I digress. Some personality types might shelter their kids from difficult subjects, but architect parents believe that their knowledge is far better than ignorance. For them, candor is a way of showing respect, and shielding their kids from reality will be a disservice. Yes, I don't shield my kids from reality. Of course, the success of this approach depends on the architect's ability to correctly gauge their children's readiness for these hard truths. Yeah. So. Okay. The chaos of emotions. Oh my God. Compared to many other personality types, architects aren't especially comfortable with displays of affection. Showering someone with love and praise can feel unnatural to them, even if that someone is their own child. But children need cuddling and approval. Oh, I don't have that problem. No. Cuddling and approving my son, I don't have that problem. I love this man too much. I be kissing him. I hug him. I do those crushing hugs sometimes. I wrestle with him. I love rough playing with my kid. And other expressions of love, particularly during their younger years. As a result, architect parents may need to expand their emotional comfort zone in order to show their children just how much they are loved. I wonder if the lady I knew who exposed her children to nudity in art, who did it with the argument of maturity, was a democratic architect. Bro, to me, my children's innocence come before any, this is where they say where you have to gauge the children's readiness. And in my view, a young child shouldn't be exposed to anything of that nature. Oh, you have to know about this. He can see his mom naked, like, yeah, shower with mommy, whatever. Mommy has different parts than daddy. Sure. But anything else other than like, oh, you showing someone else nudity or you showing something pornographic to your kid, that's a no-no in my eyes. Because I guard my kids' innocence like priority number one, especially when they're young kids. Now, when they get to middle school, maybe we start talking about that stuff. But and so it takes some convincing on my part, but we both want big family, so I drove home. Okay. Yeah, everyone makes a decision based on their personal decision. It's just a sacrifice. Sacrifices has to be made, man. And that kind of was my situation too. Me and my wife, we were in a decent financial standing, but we weren't quite prepared for kids yet. So we kind of had to like adapt quickly to have our kids. So, but if you wait too long, you might miss your window. But I don't know. I felt like we were really ready to have kids. So it's just as long as you have a plan, you can have an idea to shoot for, right? But let me get through this. So showering the kids with affection. Another challenge for parents with this personality type is often offering emotional support. Architects take pride in being in command of their emotions. They might consciously or unconsciously expect their kids to be able to do the same thing. But this expression isn't reasonable. Emotions may be confusing and at times chaotic, but they're perfectly normal, and children need validation and support in others and in order to navigate them. Architects are at their best when they can develop a plan to solve a problem's root cause, but sometimes the best solution to a kid's problem is just sitting with them as they explore their feelings. This sounds liberal to me. Explore their feelings. To me, I'll say how to process or manage your feelings. That's how I would put it. Preparing for life's challenges. This is my favorite part. I think I want to prepare my son for life's challenges. Architects try to make sure that their children are prepared to deal with anything that life throws at them. Parents with this personality type have a talent for reframing challenges as learning opportunities. Yes, I reframe everything as a learning opportunity. My videos didn't get as much views as I wanted. Learning opportunity, right? And I think that's one skill that is heavily needed in our current culture today, because I think a lot of liberals lack this simple like framing things. When they get challenges, they use it as a proof of, oh look, this is why the world's bad, instead of, hey, how can I make the most of this? So, and in doing so, they can inspire their children to develop their own style of rational thinking and problem solving. Over time, architects' children Okay, I think I'm back. We made Kenny talk so long, his wife turned off the Wi-Fi joke. Okay, I think I'm back. No, she wanted to do that to me. But I think though my OBS thing lost connection for a quick second. I don't know what happened. So where was I? Every parent has a different dream for their kids, unpleasant things in their life. So let's see the conclusions. I'm skipping around now. Powerful intellect, powerful discovery. So I'm going to show you guys my wife's one, and then I'll probably end the stream. So this was mine. Strategy is confident individualism. That does sound like me. So let me see. Let me go back to here. Personality types. Let's see. Welcome back. Thank you, Koyi. So see, yeah. So in my head, these tend to have the like similar traits. It's just different interpretation. So I think Koyi and Zoomer, you guys say you were this as well, or was it? Yeah, INTF. Oh no, you guys are the debaters, smart, curious thinkers who cannot resist an intellectual challenge. And then you said the logistician. So my wife, her personality type is this one, the defender, right? And I'm just gonna, I'm gonna give who is the defender? The defender is someone with an introverted, observant, feeling, and judging personality trait. This person tends to be warm and unassuming in their own steady way. They're efficient and responsible, giving careful attention to practical details in their daily lives. My wife is very detail oriented, so like she pays attention to everything I do. She knew I was going to be streaming soon, so she came and she turned one of the lights on so that way I don't go into the room dark. So I was like, oh, like I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. So love only grows by sharing. You can have more for yourself by giving it away to others. That sounds like my wife is very selfless to the point where I feel like I have to be selfish on her for her in a way. Right. When she does something, I say, you don't have to do that. Like I see myself as like, oh, I have to like protect her time because she's willing to just give it out. I think INFP is like an idealistic mediator. Oh yeah, I could look through it. Oh yeah. Okay, I was right. I appreciate you going over your childhood. I enjoy what you discuss about your connection with your son. So yeah. So let's see. In their unassuming, understated way, defenders help make the world go around. Hardworking and devoted. Yes, my wife is very devoted. Like she quit her, like she didn't quit her job, but I gave her the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom, and she took it and she embraced it and she loves it. So yeah, she's a very devoted person. She is very hardworking, sometimes to a fault. She's pregnant right now, and I think she's doing like she's sewing something for her brother, I think, right now. So people with this personality type feel a deep sense of responsibility to those around them. And defenders can be counted on to meet deadlines, remember birthdays, special occasions, uphold traditions, showering their loved one with gestures of care and support, but they rarely demand recognition for all they do, preferring instead to operate behind the scenes. Yep, that's totally my wife. I have to be like, yo, here, take care of yourself. Here, go out. Like, leave us alone. Leave Kylan with me. Leave my son with me. All right? Let's have fun. Like, go have fun. She's like, no, I can't do it. I can't leave you guys. All right? So yeah, man, that this personality, when I was like, yo, this sounds like a good mother, don't it? this is a capability can-do personality. This is a capable can-do personality type with a wealth of versatile gifts. They're sensitive and caring. Defenders often have excellent analytical skills. Yes, she's very smart, right? She's able to understand me. This is why I like to try to talk politics with her, but she don't want to. And an eye for detail. And despite their reserve, they tend to have very well-developed people skills. Yeah, she is very reserved. She doesn't like to be social, but when you get her, when she starts socializing, it's like second nature. I'm like, look at this. You're good at this. Look at you, stay-at-home mom. I used to always bug her with that. And robust social relationships. Defenders are truly more than the sum of their parts, and their varied strength and shines in the most ordinary aspects of their life, right? And this sounds like the traditional wife, don't it? Like, you shine in the background, you appreciate it. And that's why I try to appreciate her as much as I can, right? So defenders are true altruistic, meeting kindness with kindness in excess, this should be an exclamation point, in excess. I'm like, yo, you need to be mean sometimes. But she can be when she gets frustrated, but it takes a lot for her to get there. Me, I have like a quick fuse, but we balance each other out. That's why I say most relationships are complementary. So engaging with working people they believe in with enthusiasm and generosity, right? The gift of loyalty. I don't know. I want to go through all of this. So let's see. Let me jump into. I don't think INTP is a good personality type for a mother. Haha. So I'm always doing my best to make up for it. Thankfully, my stoic nature doesn't apply to my daughter. I think all personality types can be mothers and fathers. It's just like you have to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. And I just say some roles seem to be better catering to this, because I looked at the career path and a medical field came out a lot for this one. And that's what my wife wanted to do originally. She wanted to be into medicine. So it made sense, but given if I look at the career path, it probably will say medical. So here's a romantic relationship, and I'm probably going to go to the first paragraph and jump around. Romantic relationship bring out a side of this personality that may not be obvious at first glance. Beneath their mind, unassuming exterior, defenders through with passionate commitment and loyalty towards the person they love, to the people they love. At times, defenders themselves may be surprised by the intensity of their feelings, especially their fierce desire to protect and care for their partner. Yes, my wife's very protective of me. I don't know what I'm like. I'm the man in the relationship. You're here protecting me, bro. But I think that's also due to her her pain, her attention to detail nature, I guess. Right? She tries to make things as easy as possible for me, and I feel like to reciprocate, I try to make her life as easy as possible. This is why I feel comfortable making her a stay-at-home mom, because I love her to death. He who loves his wife loves himself, for no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as Christ does the church. Ephesians 5 verse 29. I'm gonna remember that verse. There's also another verse that stuck with me as well was, he who finds a virtuous a woman finds a good thing, right? So that's one verse that comes to mind when I think of my wife. So I'm really grateful. I really appreciate of her. So, tolerating me doing all this and doing this side thing, technically, like, taking more time away from our kid. But she understands, like, I found a new hobby, I found a new passion, and she's supporting me, giving me my all behind this, right? Allowing me to talk almost 2 hours on a live stream, So I really do appreciate her. And I try to make her know that every day, right? This is why I barely tell her no. So if she asks for something, I'll be like, usually it's a wait more than a no. But hey, a good woman is worth more than rubies and then gold, or something up to that tune. Yeah, there's a lot of verses that's saying, but the Bible makes this the perception that it's hard to find women like this. So, So here's a career path. Defenders are often the backbone of their workplace, reliable, hardworking, and always ready to lend a hand. People with this personality type tend to take pride in getting the job done, getting it done well. She does like getting stuff done well. Like, she's OCD about stuff. Like, she likes to organize. Amen. Your wife sounds so wonderful. God bless. I hope she's reading I'm probably going to make her read these comments sections. She's probably going to be like, I feel so appreciated. Or she's going to be like, oh, thank you. Do you appreciate it? Rarely cutting corners. Yeah, she don't like to cut corners for nothing. I'm like, yo, you could just like ink out this, and she give me the
Nope.
She's like, nope, we got to do it right. Or baking or bulking at a time-consuming task. This unshakable work ethic. Yeah, she works very hard. Right, combined with a genuine desire to be of service to others, make defenders invaluable in a range of careers. Right, so they paint her a lot into medical, but yeah. Parenthood. Should I look into Parenthood? Let's see if you guys get a sneak peek. Caring and steadfast. Yep, that sums up my wife right here. Looking around, it's true. You're fortunate, Kenny. Good women are hard to come by. I hope when we are old and gray, my husband and kids feel that same way about me. And that's one of the kind of things I try to inform myself about the red pill stuff. Right? And this is why I don't tend to agree with the conservative notion that men should just go get married. Because in my head, I know, especially with this current culture that's pushing hedonism, materialism on young women, it's easy for young women to get access to wealthy men, right? There was a stat out there that 60% of men are single, only 30% of women are single. And they're theorizing that a lot of it is due to the fact that a lot of women are dating older men, and older men have what? Material wealth. So that's what women are chasing now. This is why a lot of women are doing OnlyFans now. So I'm tapped into this red pill stuff because I want to give my son current information, not information. Because when I found my wife, we met in 2015. So it was right before Tinder became like mainstream. So that's when I met my wife. So I kind of missed this digital dating thing, right? But I keep myself informed by watching all this red pill stuff, Just Pearly Things. I think Fresh and Fit. Andrew Tate was the main one. I think I found Andrew Tate through Fresh and Fit. So yeah, like, it's a crazy world we live in now. Like, and I don't know how I'm gonna prepare my son. Like, to me, it's like I have to either I have to put him around a community where they share the same values as me, which is gonna be hard to find, hard to craft. So that way he meets like-minded families. Like, I'm at that point where any girl that my son brings, I forgot what it was. Me and my wife, we agreed on this point, because my wife, she has this thing. Hey, my son's not gonna be some woman's ATM. So me and my wife already have this plan for whoever dates our son. We're gonna be very critical of her, just because we're protective of our son. So I mean, the future girlfriend, wife of my son, good luck. Because seeing a lot of the ish that's been going on in this culture, sheesh. We'll be very critical of women. We'll be like, what is your attention for our son? Are you trying to use him for his money? Or it's so funny. I really hate it when men joke about how their wives should sell their feet or be a Twitch girl. It's not OF, but it's still selling a part of your wife that should only be for you. Yeah, I'm very private with that. I'm like, no, I don't play with that. We all have our ups and downs, and I'm sure I can complain forever about my husband, and he's about me, and I just refuse to talk bad about. Yes, that's one thing I never understood about married people who do that, especially when they go on TikTok. Didn't some lady on TikTok got like a bunch of feminists to almost got her husband fired from his job because she started complaining about how her husband went to Vegas and she started, I don't know. But that's one thing me and my wife, we hashed out in our relationship. We were like, hey, look, any problems that's dealing with in our marriage, it stays between us, right? And we figure it out because end of the day, we know the agreement that we came together on. People outside don't know the agreement. So if you get advice from some woman from outside and she's telling you do things, like my wife, when she gets advice from her friends about how to approach a situation with me, she go, it's not going to work with Kenny. Kenny's not going to like that. Like, because she knows me better than her friend will know me, right? But I think a lot of things that the manosphere or the red pill stuff says is true, that a lot of women friends keep them single because the friends give them bad advice. But hey, I digress. God bless you and your family. Thank you, Jovan Johnson. I really appreciate the $19 super chat. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hey, you came in clutch right before I ended the stream, boy. You came in with a last minute super chat. I really do appreciate it. Javon, I hope I said that right. But yeah, how this came to be, Road to Independence. So I was talking about how my family, so this is my wife's parenting skills right here. So defenders take responsibility for parenthood seriously. Yes, she does. My wife have like 3 books on homeschooling right now. So that way she could be the best homeschooling teacher she can possibly be, because she feels unconfident teaching our son. I'm like, yo, go with the flow. You figure it out as you go along. She's like, no, I gotta know this stuff up front. But yeah, I understand how lucky I am. I understand that this is not commonplace in our society anymore, and I think it's sad, honestly. But I think men needs to date with discernment now, and women too, right? And I think the main problem with women is that the culture teaches women not to date with a purpose, but to date hedonistically and for fun. And you know what happens when you date without a purpose? You end up just wasting your time, and your options dwindle. So parents with this kind of personality type see it as a duty to provide their children with a secure and comfortable home life, a stable foundation to help their kids grow up to be capable, successful, and happy. But when it comes to parenthood, defenders aren't just motivated by a sense of duty, they're also motivated by love, and the depth and power of this love can be nothing short of amazing. Many people with this personality type feel that parenting is not just a responsibility, but a calling, and a way for them to use their gift of altruism, generosity, and patience to guide a beautiful new soul into the world. As time gone on, as our son grew up, I noticed my wife is more patient with my son than I am patient with my son. So yeah, it almost seemed like for her, like this is what I was saying, her personality type make her like she was born to be a mother, essentially. She just didn't know it yet. So given that this personality type values tradition and guidance, it's no surprise that many defenders embrace clearly defined roles for parent and children, aka they work well in traditional gender roles, right? And rather than seeing themselves as their children's peer or best friend, defenders parents view their role, and often rightly so, as that loving authority figure, someone who imparts wisdom and values, gently but firmly teaches their children the difference between right and wrong. She's gentle but firm. That's my wife. But me, I'm firm and harsh. Like I'm strict. My wife always has to be like, he's only 2, and I'm like, and then I go on this rant. You're gonna be saying he's only 2, then he's only 4, then he's only 8, then he's only 16. Like when we gonna start disciplining this kid? Like that's me. I'm on that train. So it's hilarious how we see things differently, but this is why they say kids have to come off a 2-parent household. Because if my son was only raised by me, this kid will be an emotionalist. Like he is gonna be like he came out of the military. But if you only raised by my wife, he may come. I want to say he'll be spoiled, but the father tends to be the disciplinarian. I just think he's gonna feel, oh, I don't have to listen to mom, because at the end of the day, you know, as boys grow, I did it. I was raised by a single mom, but it was more of a co-parenting situation. But as I grew up, I didn't see my mom as much of an authority figure. I just saw her as like, oh, when my mom says something, it's a kind of. But if my dad says something, it's a I have to, right? So it's just a difference of interpretation, honestly. It should be common. Have love and pride that other people in your country have good, stable, happy relations and make the world a better place. So true. They're trying to turn women into a falsified depiction of piggish men who lay as many women as they can look at. He's only 50, right? Oh, interesting. I go for gentle but firm. Haha. My mother was overly harsh, so I'm trying not to do what I found so hurtful in her parenting. I say that too. Haha. Papa, she's only 2. Yeah. My mom was. I feel like as a single mom, they try to play both roles, but it doesn't work the same, right? Or my mom tried to be like my mom has to like you said, base zoomer. She had to overly be harsh, right? Like what it took my mom to be overly harsh, it took my dad to say it in a very calm manner. And I don't understand. That's biology. It's just, at the end of the day, the science prove it. The men's voice, it's deeper, and instinctively it sounds more threatening, especially when we raise our voice. Like when my wife raises her voice at my son, he goes, ha ha ha. He brushes it off. When I raise my voice, he's like, oh, that I'm running, and he's crying sometimes. Like, my wife gets scared that, oh, I don't want our son to be scared of you. I'm like, he's not scared of me. This kid, he just knows he's in trouble. That's why he's crying like that. So it's interesting. It's like, I don't know. I find it very fulfilling, like having a family and having all this stuff. So it's fun times. Never a dull moment with my family. But I think that's enough about me, guys. I don't know. Should I continue on this tirade about my wife, or should I just go into asking questions? I'll wait a bit because I have a delay. Oh, I'm gonna drink a little water right now. No, I'm pretty much home 24/7 because I work from home, so I'm with him every day. It's just like my kid is he's a very mischievous, so he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's supposed to listen to his mom. It's just he knows when I raise my voice, it's like, oh my God. So he goes, oh my God, dad said something, so I'm gonna be in trouble, because he knows when I say something, I fall through with it. Sometimes my wife will be too tired and she don't put him in timeout, or she doesn't really quite discipline him. So he knows it's like, okay, it's hit or miss with mom. Sometimes mom discipline me, sometimes mom don't. But with dad, every time dad say he's gonna discipline me, he disciplines me. So he knows, like, usually when I raise my voice, he knows like I'm a either tap him, like discipline him, like capital punishment style, or put him in timeout. So he knows there's going to be a punishment following after what I said. I agree with Koyi. Mrs. Kenny sounds wonderful, and your family dynamic sounds wholesome. I try. We try. So I'm going to continue with the parenthood stuff then. Defenders dedicate themselves to ensuring that their children understand the importance of taking responsibility and doing the right thing. So me and her are in agreement about this, right? So there's this concept that we're agreeing on, like what values we want our kids to have. So I grew up Christian, right? My wife didn't really grow up Christian. Like, her family is Christian and all, but she didn't really attend church religiously like that. I grew up like that. At least as a kid, I grew up like that. I grew up going to church every Sunday, reading the Bible front and back, Christian school. So a lot of my moral framework is in Christianity. But I stole this concept from my Christian school, which is our kids, you may not become Christian, but you're gonna leave our home moral, right? Because we want to raise good, upstanding adults in society, right? So we agreed that, okay, stoicism, we're gonna teach about like rationale, like you have power of your own mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is why I like having quotes around the room, so that way when if my son complains about something, I said, hey, God controls what happens to you. You only control how you respond. So how are you going to respond, son? Like, there's wisdom in quotes. So I tend to try to find as much quotes as I can that make sense. And these are the type of things we're going to instill in our kids. This is part of the reason I want to homeschool too. Because I think the way society, like our public school education is right now, they don't instill any kind of values into your kids. And I think this is what's causing the crumbling of our moral infrastructure. This is why we get so much school shooters, because for the most part, there's no social cohesion amongst each other. We see each other more as others than actually compatriots or countrymen, right? there's no sense of unity in our country anymore is because we don't have any shared values. Like, oh, just because you think this is wrong doesn't mean the other person will think it's wrong, and that automatically causes conflict in your society. So it's craziness, but hey, you got to make you got to make the best of what you can with this stuff. It can be challenging for defendant parents with their children in an effort to assert their independence, push back on this well-intended guidance and support. As part of the development, many kids reach a point where they want to test boundaries. This is where my son is at right now. Experiment with new ways of doing things and make their own choices, and that sometimes involve going against their parents' advice and values. This may not be difficult for defenders to manage in earlier years, but it can become more and more of a struggle once that kid reaches adolescence and young adulthood. When the decision-making stakes become much higher, defenders value stability, and they want to make sure that their children are setting themselves up for the right kind of future. One that includes financial and professional security as well as happiness. If they worry that their children aren't putting themselves on the track for this kind of future, defender parents can become deeply unsettled or even somewhat controlling. My wife tends to be a worried wart, but I don't see her as too much of controlling. But end of the day, we're so early in our parenting cycle, so that's a stay tuned. Fortunately, defenders hardly ever lose track of just how much they love their children. It's true that the parents with this personality type may sometimes be heavy-handed in their efforts to steer their children in a way they perceive to be good direction. But even if their children end up going a different way, that doesn't mean that defenders will stop loving them or trying to help them find a way to happiness. Defender parents lead with their heart, and those hearts have more than enough room to love and accept their children as they are. The truth is that parenting is far from easy for any personality type, not if they're doing it right. That said, defenders have the advantage of being not just caring but also thoughtful and responsible in how they administrate that care. Often seen as ideal parents, people with defender personalities are able to offer their kids stability, security, and most importantly, an abundance of love and support. Aww, I'm gonna make my wife rewatch this because this is funny. So yeah, that sums up my wife pretty much as a parent. What was I was gonna say something, but I kind of forget. Yeah, I felt like she was built to be a mom. Honestly, like she was so worried. Oh my god, I hope we're doing this right. I hope we're feeding him. Like, but once he was here, it was like, yo, it was like clockwork. It's like, oh. Like nothing. I was like, damn, you getting the hang of this. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it for me, man. I'm starting to get sleepy now because this is about to be 12. Woo. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Oh, before I go, is there any other personality types you guys want me to look over? Personally, one of you guys, I think one of you guys said you was Logic Tech, but if not, yeah, just leave it in the comments. Say, yeah, we're sleepy too. Yeah. I appreciate you guys watching to the end, guys. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to leave a like on the comment section. Don't forget to like the stream, guys. It will really help me out. Don't forget to leave a comment as well. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hope everyone has a good night. Thank you. It was a good birthday for me today. So I really appreciate you guys coming out and supporting, watching me go over personality stuff, this nerdy thing. But I found it fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope to see you guys on the next video, next live stream. And let me see. I think instincts are a powerful thing. My personality type is meant for motherhood, but God gives us innate knowledge. Yes, he does. I really appreciate you guys. All right, guys. I'm going to call it a night. See you guys on the next live stream. Peace. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. All right. Bye.